But Eversource says it's activating its emergency response plan to address potential power outages due to tropical storm force winds. Steve Sullivan is president of Connecticut operations for Eversource.
As the storm goes past us, it is forecast that its wind field will greatly expand. So here in Connecticut, we are still forecast to see tropical storm force wind gusts along the coast and really across all of Connecticut, wind gusts approaching tropical storm force strength.
That impact is expected Saturday with wind
Testing,
gusts above 40
testing.
miles an hour, especially in eastern Connecticut. Sullivan says that saturated ground and trees with all their leaves on them could contribute to downed trees on power lines and other issues. And while we're talking about extreme weather, check this out. There's no word on how help is going to reach 6 stranded residents in Scotland. 3 bridges have collapsed due to floodwaters that flowed on top of them during Wednesday afternoon's severe thunderstorms. The bridges on Brook and Bass Roads failed after hours of sustained water passed on top of them. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un seized the cockpit of the most advanced Russian fighter jet at an aircraft factory in Russia. His rare foreign trip has raised concerns worldwide about a banned weapons transfer between the increasingly isolated countries. And the 2-day observance of Rosh Hashanah begins at sundown. Jews across Connecticut and the world will gather to celebrate the new year and also the anniversary of the creation of Adam and Eve. Rabbi Yosef Wolowski, executive director of the Chabad Jewish Center in Glastonbury, explains the tradition of the ram's horn.
Is the sounding of the shofar. The shofar is a ram's horn, and it's biblically mandated that the way we usher in the new year is by the sound of the trumpet, the sound of the horn.
He says the holiday is a sense of renewal and a time to focus on one's inner self and core goodness. Markets are lower. The Dow is down 23 points, S&P 500 in the red 8 points. NASDAQ futures, half hour away from the opening for all of them, 52 points down. For these stories and more, we're at WTIC.com. I'm Morgan Cunningham, WTIC 1080 News.
And I'm Mark Christopher from the Brown Payne Scott Traffic Center. Looks good in downtown Hartford. Roadways are in great shape. 8491, Route 2, 291, and 384. So no delays there. If you are heading into the Waterbury area right now, 84 and 8 moving well. No problems at Middletown 9 in the Aragoni Bridge. Slight slowdown 91 northbound between exit 14 and 15. Some road work there in the right lane, so you'll see a little bit of a delay going through there once again on the northbound side of I-91. Now, we do have some road work scheduled today in Union 84 westbound between 72 and 71. The right lane is out there. If you are traveling into Chester, road work Route 82 westbound at the merge to Route 9 north and south for some sign installation there. Essex road work 9 southbound between 5 and 3. Left lane is going to be shut down there. And in New Britain, road work 9 northbound between 36 and 37. The right shoulder is shut down. So look out for that. Use caution. Next report comes up at 9:33. WTIC News Talk 1080.
Local weather. WTIC's Bob Cox.
Across the area today, we'll see clouds mixing with some partial sun. The high gets up to about 70 degrees this afternoon. We'll have a bit of a northerly breeze going too at 10 to 15 miles an hour with a few gusts over 20. Looks mostly cloudy tonight. Lows will be in the 50s. And as Hurricane Lee comes up to our latitude, but hundreds of miles to our east, tomorrow morning, there's a possibility there could be a couple of showers into the eastern half of Connecticut, maybe a 40% chance.
What's happening, man?
Otherwise, we start
Holla, holla. Good morning.
Clouds should thin a bit
Doing all right.
and allow some.
What were you off yesterday, Wednesday?
At some point during the second half of the day. It'll be on the windy side tomorrow. We'll have northwesterlies.
Sorry, what was that?
12
No, I was saying, were you
miles
off
an hour
on
with
Wednesday?
gusts of 35
Yeah, I was off Wednesday. No, it was.
Highs in the low to mid 70s.
Oh, we were recording our football picks.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, when you were on, yeah.
Clouds in the afternoon, the high near 80. I'm meteorologist Bob Cox in the WTIC Weather Center.
A successful retirement doesn't just happen. It requires a plan that's custom built to suit everyone's individual financial situation. Every Saturday morning at 7 a.m., we share vital information on how to build.
Oh,
and
I need
live
to
a
check audio
successful
real quick. Do I have time?
It's On the Money with Jay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Retirement strategies on building income and the proper protection from the pitfalls and the latest news in the retirement universe. On the Money with Jay Dorsey.
Shane Hawkins has been a driver for CT Trans.
WTIC.
Yeah, that's cool.
1080.
Our experience with Connecticut Paid Leave was great.
I got to spend time with my son.
I loved it. Connecticut Paid Leave provides income replacement for eligible workers when they take time away from work for qualifying health or family reasons.
They just said, fight your fight and don't worry about everything that needs to happen.
Most employers with one or more workers in Connecticut are covered under Connecticut Paid Leave. Find out more or start an application today at ctpaidleave.org. That's ctpaidleave.org.
Some people put off things that need doing. Not you. Harbor Freight knows you're a today's the day kind of person. And I'm on it kind of person. A bring it kind of person. So if you're rolling up your sleeves today and you don't want to overpay for tools, you're a Harbor Freight kind of person. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $40 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $18 a month, a savings of nearly $300 a year.
Whether you need a $100,000 policy or a $10 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. In a hurry? Don't worry. With SelectQuote, you can get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-723-5330. That's 1-800-723-5330. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-723-5330. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Brian Shackman here for QC Kinetics. You know, those two letters, Q and C, and that word kinetics can actually change your life without surgery, especially if you're dealing with acute joint pain. It's advanced regenerative medicine. They take your body's own concentrated healing properties and put them right into your joints to restore and repair that damaged tissue, and that pain, it goes away. Patient satisfaction reports are absolutely astonishing. It's a real alternative to the old ways of dealing with pain, especially surgery. And there's no downtime with QC Kinetics. So if you have constant pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or back, you need to call them, get a free consultation from the pros at QC Kinetics. Imagine this fall, moving around, hiking, walking, playing with the grandkids, and do it without pain. Precision regenerative medicine can attack that pain and bring you lasting relief. So call QC Kinetics. They have 2 offices in Connecticut. It's 860-440-PAIN, 860-440-PAIN. Again, the company, QC Kinetics. The number, 860-440-PAIN.
Been in an accident? You don't just need
This is the last one here, bro.
Thank you.
Our team of personal injury lawyers at Brown, Payne, Dearest, and Scott work together to get you what you deserve. Fair and just compensation without delay. If you've been injured, BPS lawyers are here to help. At BPS Lawyers, you get more than a lawyer. You get a law firm. Visit us at bpslawyers.com. That's bpslawyers.com. Bruce Newman is responsible for the content of this ad.
This is Reese on the Radio, filling in for Wilma Roddy on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Oh, man. Matt, if you knew how often I used to wake up in the morning on the morning show to this song. Oh, man, that just took me back. What is going on? Good morning to you and yours on this Friday, the September 15th of the year. It's Reese on the Radio, filling in for Pastor Will Marotti. It's a pleasure to be here, as always. Plenty of news and plenty of my personal views on things happening in and around your world. We'll do some local stuff. We'll do some national stuff. We'll do some palace intrigue, of course, because of the Hunter Biden indictment. We'll get into all of that. Hello, Bunny. You can always check out Reese on the Radio if you'd like to watch me as I do this thing. You can go to reasoontheradio.com right now. And if you're on Rumble, because you're not a fan of YouTube, that's your business. But you can always go there. Go to reasoontheradio.com so you can watch the show there. Our telephone number, 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. I guess I could start with the Hunter Biden indictment. There's a lot to unpack here. If you haven't heard, I guess from the moment the story broke, it's anything and everything that people could talk about. But there's an interesting angle here. that I know is coming. And sure enough, I mentioned it yesterday on my podcast. Last night on my podcast, I said that all of this is forming something that makes Joe Biden look great. And I don't know if people are confused by it or they're taking my prognosticating, abilities with a grain of salt. But I have a tendency to look at things a little different than everyone else. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong, but I get a little close to the mark. I'm not always bullseye, but I'm pretty good. And I noticed something about this. It wasn't just the timing, right? They didn't have any Donald Trump news to go after, that constant theme we kept hearing, when something bad happened with Joe Biden, another Trump indictment happened. Something bad happened with Hunter, another Trump bombshell. It was always that, right? So that wasn't really the case here. We had the inquiry into Joe Biden, the impeachment inquiry. And people are saying now, coincidentally, we got a Hunter Biden indictment, which makes no sense to me because both are bad for Joe Biden. David Weiss, the special counsel in this case, who, by the way, couldn't find anything in 5 years to charge Hunter Biden with, becomes special counsel and lickety-split, we have an indictment. Like, no one's talking about that, even in conservative media. No one's saying, wow, he became special counsel and miraculously the gun charge came. Something they've known about since 2018. Like, no one's even mentioning that. So we get here, and this indictment comes out, and everyone's trying to figure out, well, you can't pin it to the president. This is clearly not involved with the president of the United States, as if they got some form of cover. They do not. They do not. And I will explain it. It's real simple. Let me play this. This is me on my podcast last night talking about this. And when I tell you it didn't take me a half an hour to figure this out, I mean it. It didn't take me a half an hour to figure this out. Joe Biden must step down, which again is what we've been alluding to for the longest. Joe Biden will eventually resign, right? But he comes out looking like a hero, right? He looks sympathetic. I resigned because of my son, because, I did not want my son to end up rotting in jail. I did not want these evil prosecutors using my son against me or being used against me as I run this presidential campaign. So the objective becomes, I've got to do the best thing for my family. He looks like a hero. The media, praises him for sacrificing, falling down on his sword. Yeah. Right? That's exactly how I saw it. It took me 30 minutes after the indictment. And folks, this morning I wake up to the former press secretary for Joe Biden, Jen Psaki, on Morning Joke saying this.
But right now you have the president's son, somebody he loves deeply, somebody who has very publicly struggled with drug addiction, now facing these charges, which are serious. And I'll let Andrew do a contemplation of the legality and the process and all of that, which I know a lot of us have questions on. But right now what we're looking at, and I think on the politics of this, millions of Americans have dealt with family members who have dealt with drug addiction.
Oh.
Who've dealt with alcohol addiction, who have dealt with a range of addiction. My bet is right now this is a heartbroken president in the White House who is worried about his son. And we're all watching to see kind of what happens with this.
You see the setup? There's a setup. It's not like Jen Psaki doesn't know. It's not like she doesn't have a direct line into the White House. She does. Anything she wants, she gets out of that White House, and she'll run their talking points on her television show, which, by the way, congratulations to her. I hear her show just got picked up. Instead of being a weekend show, now it's a weekly show. Desperate to get the president's message out there, they gave her a 5-day-a-week show. Congratulations to her. I mean, it must be nice, as my ex-wife would say. Which, by the way, is always an insult. Must be nice. But now we're not supposed, I'm telling you, that's the setup. This is the whole setup. We've been looking at a president. That's all we've been told over and over again. We're looking at a president who sees his poor, drug-addicted son. We're not supposed to see the images that are on the laptop. You know? Yelling at Russian prostitutes, weighing copious amounts of crack, driving around at 170 miles per hour while smoking said crack. Pictures of him in the bed doing tawdry things. We're not supposed to see that image. We're supposed to see the image of an old man whose son's gone astray, who's just trying to keep his son together. His son's a grown man. His son's a year younger than me. He's a grown man. But we're supposed to look at this as, I don't know, like some horrible Hallmark PG-13 movie of old Uncle Joe trying to keep his son's life together. And what will he end up doing? I'm sorry. I'll get into this in a second because we're going to go on a break. But I'll get into this in a second. Very important thing to note here. The president is underwater on every metric. Everything he does is underwater. His policies, this Bidenomics thing, I warned everybody. As soon as I heard he was calling it Bidenomics, I said, who would want to be associated with Reaganomics? Talk to anyone, especially for the people who know Reaganomics, not a bad thing, but for most people, bad thing. You're going to call it Bidenomics. That means they thought that the term Reaganomics was a good thing for Reagan. Makes no sense, but whatever. Bidenomics is not doing what it said it is. The Inflation Reduction Act didn't do what it was supposed to do. He's underwater in the polls. He's losing the African-American vote, the core of his presidency. He's losing that in droves, the Hispanic vote in droves. He's losing suburban women in droves. All of it happening right there in front. And now he's got the problem with Hunter. Now he's got the problem with influence peddling. Now he's got the problem with bribery allegations. And now we just got Jamie Raskin and Nancy Pelosi pretty much not giving a full-throated endorsement of this White House for re-election. And what's his name? Joe Scarborough just said recently on Morning Joke that every Democrat, not 99%, his words, every Democrat they talk to is wondering why this man is running. They know it's a wrap. So to save the legacy of Joe Biden, he'll resign. I'm giving it by Thanksgiving. I think it's timely. I think it paints an image. I'll explain that when we get back. And we'll take your phone calls. If I'm crazy, I'd like to hear from you. The number is 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Reese on the Radio, filling in for Pastor Will Moradi on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
At Granger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail, the ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional-grade products. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
A new air conditioning system is a big purchase for any homeowner. At FF Hitchcock, you only have to make that decision once with our buy it once, buy it for life, lifetime warranty. Yes, you heard me right. FF Hitchcock is the only company in the state to offer lifetime coverage. We cover it all with our lifetime parts and labor warranty. No questions asked. Sounds too good to be true? Well, then call me, John, at FF Hitchcock today, and let me show you service like it should be. ffhitchcock.com.
Brian Shackman here for the FanDuel Sportsbook. Oh, man, football. I cannot wait. And FanDuel is making it tougher to wait, but more fun to play. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's win or lose on that $5 bet. They put $200 right into your account. Plus, all customers bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. FanDuel.com/Brian1080. Got to be 21, though, and present in Connecticut. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit is required. That bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions and terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, 1-888-789-7777 or online at ccpg.org/chat. NFL Sunday ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
The share it with a friend deal, even if that friend is yourself. Your McDonald's, your rules.
Now, you can buy a quarter pounder with cheese, Big Mac, 10-piece McNuggets, or a McCrispy sandwich and get another for $1. Get two of the same or mix and match.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Price and participation may vary. Single item at regular price. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Truckloads of Sundance Spas have arrived at Superior Hearth Spas and Leisure. Factory direct sale pricing on all 2023 models for 3 weeks only at Connecticut's largest hot tub destination. Choose the model, color, and options while getting the lowest pricing of the season. Receive a Kingsley Bait outdoor furniture credit valued up to $2,000 with any Sundance Spa purchase. Shop now before the deals are gone. Sale ends October 1st. Always superior products, always superior service. SuperiorAtHome.com.
There's only one place in Connecticut that has the technology to rebuild your mouth in 1 day, 7 days a week. Columbia Dental Implant Center in Manchester. We have the specialists, the digital dental lab, and the infrastructure. Call 860-730-6020 or ColumbiaImplantCenter.com.
Looking for the best ways to prepare for retirement? Then be sure to tune in to Money Wisdom with Eric Horgarth tomorrow morning at 8:30, right here on WTIC News Talk 1080.
When it's time to update your kitchen or bathroom, Christino Kitchens will help you find the latest trends, furnishings, and styles for your home. Christino Kitchens is a locally owned business with over 35 years of experience, providing remodeling services throughout Connecticut. Work with our experienced professionals to renovate your bathroom or kitchen. You'll work directly with a designer, helping you navigate the trends, make the most of your space, and get a complete vision and plan. Visit our brand new showroom at 160 Oak Street in Glastonbury, or visit us at ChristinoKitchens.com.
If you love headlines that make you stop scrolling and start reading, you'll love my podcast, Something Offbeat. I'm Mike Rogers, and in the past year, we've learned about items on the nude bucket list.
It's just a lot of normal stuff that people do nude rather than clothed.
And what's behind the rash of incidents involving fans throwing objects at artists on stage?
They're being treated more like the object on the screen than the person on the stage.
Something Offbeat drops Mondays in the Odyssey app or wherever you listen to podcasts.
This is Reese on the Radio, filling in for Wilma Roddy on WTIC News Talk 1080.
And we're back. Thank you all for joining us on this, Friday, September 15th, 2023. I don't really like the weekend. I know I've probably told you that 1,000 times. I'm not really a big weekend fan, but I own a moving company, so the weekends are, profitable for me. So I don't know. I'm just not looking forward. I love during the week. It's sort of like, you get to do the show, the news is happening, stuff like that. And people are working so they can answer my phone calls. That is what I care about. All right. So if you're just joining us, and I know you're probably just settling into the job and whatnot, that's cool. Trust me. We have plenty of time to talk about this in the next half hour. Because I want to hear from you. Again, 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. I think that Thanksgiving sets a good tone for the Biden resignation. Maybe I'm just too, just too excited about that, or it appears to be. I don't mean to be excited. I'm just saying that this is one of those perfect storms where you had, look, we've had everything under the sun happen in the last 5 years. Everything under the sun. We've had a twice impeached president. We have an indicted president. We have a mugshot president, right? We've got influence peddling, the foreign dignity. We got, alleged bribery charges. I mean, come on, the whole darn thing is unprecedented. So I wouldn't be surprised if we yanked a little bit of history out of the whole presidential politics and had another resignation with a Kamala Harris at the helm. I know a lot of you are scared, but we need something to add to this horror story. And Kamala is the perfect example for that. Okay? She's the perfect foil in all of that. Sorry. I'm just making that point. Oh, here she is.
It is your girl Cammie.
Let's get to the phones. Ralph is in South Carolina. Hello, Ralph. You're on Reese On The Radio on the Will Marotti Show. Ralph? Okay, maybe Ralph isn't there.
I am here.
Oh, hey, Ralph. How are you? You're on Reese On The Radio on the Will Marotti Show. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. A couple of things I want to bring up. First of all, I guess if you're a drug addict or an alcoholic, you can commit crimes and there's no penalty because you have an excuse.
Well, apparently.
But the main thing I want to call about, Reese, is I would like to ask your esteemed senators in Connecticut and all your congressional people in Connecticut, especially the Vietnam War hero, Blumenthal, what number is the end of America as far as debt goes, and we're bankrupt and we're broke? What's the dollar number that all of a sudden we've had it? We're at 33 trillion right now.
Right.
Where is
what's the ceiling?
Number, exactly. What number is there that we're done, folks? We're no longer a country. We're bankrupt.
They don't listen. If you really think about this, Ralph, you have to consider where politicians are coming from in all of this. When it hits the fan, as it said, I don't think that any one of them will be alive to have to care. That's the reason why. It's not their money. They're not responsible for having to pay for it. And they'll be long gone before it ever catches up with average Americans. So they're completely removed from any responsibility for that kind of debt. And you can ask them 1,000 times and they'll talk about it till your ears fall off about how much they care and how much they consider that every day when they walk in and answer questions by their constituents. But we know by their actions, they don't care. They're removed by it. It's not their money. When it's not your money, you can do whatever you want with it.
Somewhere down the line, it has to come soon, that politicians have to be made liable for what they do. And if that happens, it will change the entire
term limits. Term limits.
Well, term limits that's the one big thing. Two things that our forefathers really messed up on: term limits and a balanced budget.
Yeah.
With those two things, the country would be back on track.
Yeah. And you know what? We could possibly we might get to that place someday when we, and I think a part of it will be, Ralph, and I think this will probably help it, right? When politicians are made to feel more like servants than rulers, then it will be term limits. Because if they had to face the pressures of being, our public servants, that would be enough for them to say, you know what, I've served long enough. Let's give another person a try. Because now they're in a position of power and they're the ruling class now, right? So with that power, they never want to let that go. So once we get that balance back, the forefathers did have a sense. They thought if we make them public servants, they'll serve their time and then they'll go. But of course, they've been used, they're more reliable to the average citizen today that now they feel like they're monarchs as opposed to public servants. We have to change that mindset.
Right, and people, we
gotta go.
Oh, hey, damn it.
Day after day after day after day.
Ralph, thank you. I didn't even look at the time. Thank you, Matt. Jesus, that's why you're here. All right, we got to take a break. We got news coming up. We'll take your phone calls when we return. Reese On The Radio, filling in for Will Marotti on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. Sorry.
And now now on WTIC.
I was trying to yell down to you. I was like,
I literally didn't even look.
WTIC.
That's all good.
Thank you, man.
Hartford, we've got 59 degrees. Thousands of law enforcement from around the country, citizens from all over, they're all expected to turn out for today's funeral for Hartford Detective Bobby Garton. His loss of life in a line-of-duty crash last week. Calling hours are being held at Duncan Park today from 2 until 7 o'clock. There's a celebration of life taking place tomorrow morning at 10 at the Hartford Excel Center. Both are public. Connecticut Department of Transportation spokesman Josh Morgan explains the DOT is preparing to allow for increased traffic.
We're going to be limiting work around the Hartford area, tonight and tomorrow. Fortunately, a lot of the traffic coming in will be on the interstate, but then there's some local roads in Hartford. So I would certainly work closely with the city of Hartford to control and to hopefully navigate some of the influx of traffic that's going to be coming.
Uniformed first responders and members of the military can ride the CT Rail Hartford line for free today and Saturday to attend the services. If they're not uniformed, have some form of identification to show your service, and then the conductor can let you on board. There will be free parking available at the stations in Berlin, Meriden, and Wallingford. Eversource is preparing to handle any power outages that come its way from wind associated with Hurricane Lee. They've activated emergency services to be ready. Connecticut residents will soon be able to get a new prescription drug discount card. The state is collaborating with Oregon, Washington, and Nevada to provide discounts of as much as 20% for name-brand drugs, 80% for generics. Governor Lamont says that it's one way the state is trying to curb rising healthcare costs.
We have the best healthcare in the world right here in the state of Connecticut, but it's unfair, unequal, and unaffordable. And until the federal government steps in and helps rationalize this, so we're doing what we can here in the state of Connecticut. Look, I'm a free market guy, but this is a market that really doesn't work.
The program begins October 2nd and will be accepted at 98% of the state's pharmacies, both independent ones and major chains, too. A criminal investigation is now underway in France after a fatal outbreak of a rare disease. Here's correspondent Elaine Cobb.
The public prosecutor in Bordeaux has opened an investigation for manslaughter after a woman died from botulism. The 32-year-old was one of at least 12 people who contracted the rare but serious illness after eating a homemade sardine dish in a wine bar in Bordeaux. The restaurateur faces 5 years in jail if he's found guilty of involuntarily killing her. Elaine Cobb, CBS News, Paris.
Let's take a look at the market opening. It's brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss, and we're seeing some red here. The Dow's down 38 points. S&P 500 is 18 points lower, and the NASDAQ is down 61 points at the opening. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm Morgan Cunningham, WTIC 1080 News.
I'm Tom Kaminsky from the Brown, Payne, Dearest, and Scott Traffic Center. We've got roadwork set up for about a 6-mile stretch on the northbound side of Route 91. It's in Wallingford. It's between exit 14 and exit 16. And on the southbound side, right around the area of exit 13, we have the right shoulder closed with roadwork. All of that running until about 4 o'clock this afternoon. That's a look at your WTIC traffic. I'm Tom Kaminsky.
Local weather. WTIC's Bob Cox.
Across the area today, we'll see clouds mixing with some partial sun. The high gets up to about 70 degrees this afternoon. We'll have a bit of a northerly breeze going too at 10 to 15 miles an hour with a few gusts over 20. Looks mostly cloudy tonight. Lows will be in the 50s. And as Hurricane Lee comes up to our latitude, but hundreds of miles to our east, tomorrow morning, there's a possibility there could be a couple of showers into the eastern half of Connecticut, maybe a 40% chance for that. Otherwise, we start out mostly cloudy. Clouds should thin a bit in the afternoon and allow some partial sun to start to come in at some point during the second half of the day. It'll be on the windy side tomorrow. We'll have northwesterlies at 12 to 25 miles an hour with some gusts to 35 to 40, maybe a little lower in Hartford in the valley, and highs in the low to mid 70s. It becomes mostly clear during Saturday night with lows in the 50s. Sunshine Sunday mixing with a few clouds in the afternoon, the high near 80. I'm meteorologist Bob Cox in the WTIC Weather Center.
I'm Ty Burrell, actor and small business owner. I'm going to show you my 5 steps for making the perfect
I'm back in
radio
case you were looking
ad.
for me.
This one's about innovation refunds and the ERC. First step, be relatable. As a small business owner, I know that filing for the ERC tax refund can feel complicated and confusing. Also, I like pizza and puppies. There, done. Step 2, cold hard info. The ERC, or Employee Retention Credit for long, is a tax credit for eligible businesses that kept employees on payroll in 2020 and 2021. So if you qualify, Innovation Refunds Network of Independent Tax Attorneys could help you claim it. Step 3, call to action. Go to innovationrefunds.com to get started. Step 4, the jingle I wrote myself. Actually, scratch that. Just go to innovationrefunds.com.
Yay, Paul in Plymouth's back.
And go to step 5, legal stuff.
Innovation Refunds does not provide tax or legal advice. We work with an independent network of tax professionals. Terms and conditions apply. Ty is paid spokesman.
Yeah, it's a masterpiece.
When it's time to update your kitchen or bathroom, Cristino Kitchens will help you find the latest trends, furnishings, and styles for your home. Cristino Kitchens is a locally owned business with over 35 years of experience, providing remodeling services throughout Connecticut. Work with our experienced professionals to renovate your bathroom or kitchen. You'll work directly.
Got a minute left, man.
You navigate the
You got it. Thank you.
the most of your space and get a complete vision.
So I got George, Mark, and Paul, right?
Room at 160 Oak Street in Glastonbury, or visit us at Cristino.
Sorry, what was that?
As a George, Mark, and Paul, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
All right.
Learn from the top experts about the latest medical news and call in with your questions. Healthy Rounds, sponsored by Hartford Healthcare. Saturday mornings 11 till noon on WTIC, News Talk 1080, and WTIC.com.
So it's not an ideal situation, but you still need to deal with it. You're going to need a lawyer. You need a firm that has the clout of a big firm, but has the time to focus on what you really need. The stakes are high, and you can't afford to lose a minute. The good news is, help is just one click away. The law firm of Brown, Panderas, and Scott has served the legal needs of individuals and their small businesses since 1977. With Brown, Panderas, and Scott, you get more than a lawyer. You get a law firm. Visit us at bpslawyers.com. Nick Panderas is responsible for the content of this ad.
You're listening to Reese on the Radio, filling in today for Will Marotti on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
Hey, we're back. It's Reese on the Radio. Sorry about that news, guys. Especially Morgan Cunningham, whom I love. It's Reese on the Radio again, filling in for Pastor Will Marotti, as the big voice says. 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Let me go into the chat room real quick, and then I'll go into the to the phone calls. Christine in Middletown says, Little Red Riding Hood, talking about Jen Psaki, Little Red Lying Hood is great at making Joe Biden being a sympathetic figure on MSNBC. I don't know if she's good at it. I know she tries, but I don't think she's good at it. I mean, everybody can see right through Little Red Lying Hood, which, by the way, I like that moniker. Lori says, sadly, Joe has used, meaning Joe Biden, sadly, Joe has used his son's shortcomings to do his dirty work of influence peddling, extortion, etc. that has racked in billions since he started his career in politics since 1972. I'll be honest with you, I'm not really sure how far it goes back. I do know, according to what we've seen so far, this was an uptick of epic proportions in 2016. Or 2014, I should say, when it came to Joe Biden and his influence peddling. Thank you to Dodge. I love Dr. Pepper, too, to checking us out on the on ReeseOnTheRadio.com. Let's get to the phones. Our good friend, our statistician, our numbers guy, George in St. Louis, is on with us. Hey, George, I'm on with Reese on the Radio.
Hi, Reese.
Hey.
I gotta talk about this. It's the GM strike.
Okay, but you got to be brief because I got a couple of calls, but go on. I was going to get into that.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, I'll call back then.
Perfect. No problem. I will get in that after the 10:30 hour, but I appreciate that because I do want to get into that. So let's go to Mark in Windsor. Hello, Mark. You want me to Reese on the Radio?
Good morning, Reese, and good morning to all the men and women listening out there. You know, the charges that I believe the prosecutor is David Weiss.
Yes.
The special prosecutor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that he's finally filing charges against Hunter after a 5-year investigation, and only charges him with this gun charge and lying on the application.
Right.
The dude is a weasel. My question now is, how much money has David Weiss taken from the Bidens? How much bribe money has Weiss taken?
Maybe maybe look at it this way, Mark. What if he isn't taking any bribes? He's just being a company man for this administration. As we're learning, guys like Peter Strzok and and Lisa Page.
Which is a bribe, and I see.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Like Christopher Wray, while he was director of the FBI under the Trump administration, he had possession of.
That's right.
Hunter Biden's
That's
laptop,
right.
And he said nothing while these impeachments was going.
He sat on it.
And yeah, he sat on it, kept quiet, mum's the word, and miraculously, Biden, and it's customary when a new president, a new governor, a new mayor comes in, they take resignations from all the department heads.
But Christopher Wray stayed. Great point.
They carry a creep, but this in Weiss creep that they're taking bribes, and my question is how much? And we see the obvious. Christopher Wray got the job. Weiss, he got the job.
I think the Weiss thing is interesting because there was this memo that was leaked, right? This email that was leaked from Hunter Biden's attorneys that told David Weiss's office and his investigative team that if you bring these charges, we'll bring the president of the United States in as a fact witness that you will have to cross-examine on the stand.
I read about that.
Yeah. So, and David Weiss, and I read that, and the first thing that ran through my mind is, do you want to be the guy that was countering an argument to the president of the United States while you were trying to go after his son legally? And I'm saying, that's probably caused him to give him this cushy deal, which is also what I believe about this indictment. I think because Greg Dillon, our good friend Greg Dillon, author of The Thin Blue Lie, said yesterday on my podcast, which I thought was interesting. He goes, well, he can't take a deal yet because there's so much other stuff. There's the FARA violations, the tax stuff that hasn't run its course. And my belief of it is that if Joe Biden decides to resign, right, that becomes the big story. So in the cover of darkness, David Weiss can make all that other Hunter stuff go away. No one will be interested because in this case, they'll make it look like they got their big fish. So it's a whole bait and switch.
But the oversight committee that is investigating Joe Biden in corruption, I don't believe they'll let it die. And Weiss would still have to. He would still have to answer for that.
Oh, I believe that.
I have the same suspicions that they're trying to dodge that. And Weiss, he already let some of the charges that could have been brought against Hunter. He already let a lot of them expire. The statute of limitations have run out on some of them.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of espionage. There's still a lot of violations against the United States as far as bribe money, as far as dealing with the Chinese. This man, he was dealing with the top person at the Chinese Communist Party.
That's right.
Intelligence.
And no one's, and you know what? There's a 5-alarm fire going on with just the Chinese involvement, with the Penn Biden Center, with the letters of endorsement for Chinese businessmen's kids to go to Brown, I think it was. There's a 5-alarm fire screaming around, and everyone keeps saying, there's no evidence. I'm like, come on, dude.
Another thing, look at Blinken. Blinken visited the Chinese Communist Party a few months ago. Then and pledged a certain amount of money to the Ukraine. Then visited, and now Iran gets
$6 billion on 9/11 of all days. What a day to release a press release.
Draw this connection, Reese. A few years ago, the Chinese Communist Party, Iran, North Korea, Russia, and the Taliban had formed a partnership.
Yeah.
They formed a partnership. And the Chinese own the Biden family.
You know what? But listen, without a doubt, Mark, that is what I believe. And it's as simple as that balloon, that weather balloon.
That just proved it, right?
Yeah, to me, I'm sorry. I don't know about you, but people call that balloon circumstantial evidence. I call that all the evidence you need. That balloon was able to fly over strategic positioning across the country, and no one shot it down until they got on the East Coast by South Carolina. And you don't think that I'm sitting up here going that China didn't... Oh, and by the way, months after that, do you notice Joe Biden had still not had a phone call with Xi Jinping? Still hasn't? About it? Yeah. Let me move on, Mark. Thank you so much for the call, man. I miss you, man. I love it when you call in. Let's get to our good friend Paul in Plymouth. Hello, Paul. You want me to Reese on the Radio on the Will Marotti Show?
Good friend. Look, I love it when you fill in because at least I can get a minute or two.
Of course.
Pastor Will's on. I don't get zip. But the flip side is that you may take Ferris's call, and where Pastor Will won't take Ferris or me. Isn't that?
I don't know about that, Paul. But I'm assuming you take umbrage with what I believe about Joe Biden and the resignation.
Oh, look, I'm wondering. Mark's claim that the communists are bribing everybody in high levels of government.
Right.
I'm wondering if Jenna Ellis, the co-conspirator Trump attorney, is someone bought her off because she has been sending out some really bad messages about her former boss. A lot of the defendants in January 6th, including Ellis, have been dropped by Trump, and they feel that Trump should support them because they were working for Trump. So, her statements, last week, I guess it was malignant narcissistic tendency to simply say that he's never done anything wrong. But,
well, let me ask this.
I'll let you talk and let me have.
Well, Paul, no, hold on. It's not an opportunity to filibuster. You make a point and then you want to move on. You can't just make the point and then I not counter it.
But Mark, it's okay. He can go
No. Okay, let's not make this about Mark. Let me talk about the Jenna Ellis thing. You believe that Donald Trump should be paying the legal fees for individuals? You believe he should be?
Well, that is an issue, yes, but
It's a yes or no question, Paul.
As soon as you go out on your own and you're not under the thumb of Trump, he attacks.
Well, okay, but you don't seem to understand. I don't think it would be the wisest move to be paying the legal bills of other co-defendants, because then it gives a degree of impropriety. It's saying that those people are now beholden to me.
Yes is the answer. No is the answer. I'll go along with you because I want to make a few statements here.
Okay, but Paul, it's no offense, but you're calling a radio show, not your show. I know you agree with me.
Because, you know what? I won't get into it because I want to make my statement. The worst human behavior is to belittle others' injuries and disabilities and wish more harm and mishaps.
Who are we doing that to?
Okay, let's look at Ellis's statement from 323 when she
Paul, no offense, but listen, you want to bring up Jenna Ellis, but that isn't the subject at hand. With all due respect, please stop trying to steer the conversation into something you wish to discuss.
Okay, well, here's another approach. The narrow-minded and judgmental people conforming and confined to certain groups. We're all in our silos. We're divided. Look at the Rush 1982 song Subdivisions, okay? Conform or be cast out. And this is what we have in society today, to the point of unchristian behavior, wishing harm on others.
Okay, Paul, here's where I always get lost on this. And I say this all the time. And I just had this discussion with my wife at the eye doctor, okay? When people become very myopic, they have a tendency to become arrogant, right? So when people start telling me, we're at a very divisive time in our history, I'm going, really? More divisive than the Civil War where 300,000 soldiers died, right? where people were literally, no, where people were attacking each other, where it was brother versus brother in the United States, where if you were on the wrong side of the Confederacy, you ended up dead. We're that divisive. Paul, this is, again, with all due respect, I know this, you wish to filibuster and you want to take over the show, but that's the reason why I can't do it. I'm going to move on. Thanks for calling, Paul. I still give you an opportunity and you still abuse it. Let's go to Rick in Cheshire. Hello, Rick. You're on with Reese on the radio.
So that was an interesting call. But moving forward, it just seems like we are at a monstrously low point in American politics. I'm in my early 50s, and I can't even reflect back on what I wouldn't do for some Ollie North and Monica Lewinsky controversy.
Right, back when the scandals were simple.
When it wasn't so intricate. And without accountability, I know we always belabor the point of accountability. It's just never, ever going to end. It doesn't seem like there's ever. Now talking about Biden being able to resign, sure. If that's the course of action. And that will be without accountability only to what? He wants to preserve his legacy, I think he might have said, or something.
Yeah, that's what I believe.
The damage, and what legacy, in whichever version of history you want to be written about him, I guess that'll be preserved. But I don't see how we talk about term limits, and term limits would be great. And I agree with your caller before, and I said it. I think our founders missed that.
Mm-hmm.
But now with the bureaucracy and all of these agencies and everything being so interwoven and so infiltrated, I will say, with communist thought.
Ideals.
And how being an idea is sure. And if you're a traditional constitutionalist, you look like a big right wing extremist. And if you limit terms, then the people that are so deeply entrenched in politics, they're out of the way, but they don't know that the new people who aren't really entrenched don't really know and see how the inner workings are. So you see how it's not so simple as term limits?
Yeah.
It's almost like purging all of these bureaucracies and all of this incestuous.
If you really think about it, Rick, look at it on this level, and this was the point I was making earlier, right? If you have a constituency that relies on you to give them their freedoms, right? And there are plenty of us who are constitutionalists. There are plenty of us who understand the rule of law and how this Constitution and how the makeup of America is supposed to work, right? That the person you are electing is there to serve you. However, we have a large group of people in this country who believe we have a group of people who are electing those to rule over them, right? For them to give them stuff. If I put you in office, you'll give me things. And you believe you're putting them in charge of giving you things like freedom, like money, like abilities. That's what you're doing when you're electing them. And we have a large group of people in this country who do that. So imagine you are the elected official and you have to decide which side of that coin you're going to play. I'm either going to play the role of you tell me what you need and I will provide as your servant, or look, I've got an idea and I think this is good for you. Listen to me as I work. You don't do the will of the people. You do what you think is best for the people. Now, again, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And if you are under the guise that you now have this power to make people's lives better or worse, like you wield such power, you will use it in that way. But there are some people who come and look, I'll admit, a guy like Trey Gowdy, he was a public servant. I really believe that Trey Gowdy was a public servant. How do I know? Here's a guy who knew he was going to win the next election and decided to get out. Yeah, he left.
Yes.
I wish we had 400 Trey Gowdys. I mean, that would just make sense, but that's who we need. Unfortunately, it's not just the politicians, it's also the people who are electing those to rule over them because they believe that they have the power to do so. I can't figure it out. That's what I'm putting you in office to.
Yeah, it goes down to how many Americans really value their liberty and freedom and understand what that actually is and understand what actual representative government is.
That's right.
And it's like like you're saying, there's just not a, it seems like we lose that numbers game every day. It just seems that way, and it seems like while losing those numbers, which it is,
It's a loss.
People need to be elected by the numbers. So then when we lose those numbers, it's almost like if you look to the future, it doesn't look really bright.
Well, here's what I would say. Try this experiment at home. I think that everyone should do it. Talk to someone who you think, and you don't have to be insulting to them, but try it on somebody who you believe is a low information voter. This isn't an opportunity for you to teach them, but it's an opportunity for you to ask. Just say, what do you believe the role of a politician? And don't go small. Don't say councilman or anything like that. Say mayor or governor. What do you believe their role is to the people of their state or their city or whatever it is? What do you believe their role is? And listen to how they answered that question. And then you'll know what you're working with. If they use terms like, they're supposed to make my life better, you know what you're working with. If you know they are there to, pretty much exact my will on the way pretty much promote my way of life, then you know which side those people are on.
We got to hit a break here, man.
All right, we got to go to a break, but thank you so much. I got more phone calls when we return. It's Reese on the Radio, filling in for Pastor Wilma Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
I'm Joe with Simple Sales CT, and I buy
Thank
houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 203-896-4000. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and more importantly, anywhere in Connecticut. I am a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind-in-payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trash and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying junk houses. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and even foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 203-896-4000. That's 203-896-4000. 203-896-4000. That's 203-896-4000.
Brian Shackman here for the FanDuel Sportsbook. Oh, man, football. I cannot wait. And FanDuel is making it tougher to wait, but more fun to play. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's win or lose on that $5 bet. They put $200 right into your account. Plus, all customers bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. FanDuel.com/Brian1080. Got to be 21 though and present in Connecticut. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit is required. That bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions and terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, 1-888-789-7777 or online at ccpg.org/chat. NFL Sunday ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
Hi, Eric Hogarth, Money Wisdom. Talking about government shutdowns. Is this something that's actually going to happen this time? Should I be as scared as everyone says I should be? Let's talk about it. This Saturday at 8:30 a.m. right here on TIC News Talk 1080.
This is WTIC News Talk 1080 with Brian and Company in the morning. Local talk all day. News around the clock. And the Boston Red Sox. WTIC, WTIC HD, and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford and Odyssey Station.
10 o'clock, Hartford temperature 60 degrees. I'm Morgan Cunningham, WTIC 1080 News. Another chapter in tragedy and mourning today at Duncan Park, the wake for Detective Bobby Garton, the Hartford police officer killed in a car crash last week. WTIC's Dave Vega reports.
He's been described as the guy who was always smiling. By all accounts, Bobby Garton was a positive influence on the Hartford police force. He received 5 citations for his performance, including a Distinguished Service Award. Fellow officers from around the country are expected at his wake and Saturday's funeral. Both are open to the public, which will be admitted to the wake starting at 2 p.m. at Duncan Park. Dave Maker, WTIC 1080 News.
The State Department of Transportation is making CT rail rides free for uniformed military and first responders so they can attend the services. Those not in uniform should bring some form of identification to show their status. Spokesman Josh Morgan with the DOT.
Go to hartfordline.com. That's where they can view the schedules and, of course, the trips to Hartford, and then the return trips back to one of the stations are also going to be free.
Parking is free in Berlin, Meriden, and Wallingford at the stations there. The DOT is doing this, they say, to help with the increase in traffic of law enforcement and civilians expected to be coming from around the country. Forecasters say Connecticut is not expecting a direct hit from Hurricane Lee. Even still, Eversource is activating its emergency response plan. They're worried about strong winds in the forecast. Eversource President of Connecticut Operations, Steve Sullivan, says conditions are right for trees and power lines to come down.
Gusts approaching tropical storm force for a 6 to 8 hour period, with trees that are still have a full canopy of leaves and that saturated ground. That is highly likely to topple over roadside trees and cause power outages, and potentially significant power outages.
The main impact will be Saturday with wind gusts above 40 miles per hour, especially in eastern Connecticut. Eversource says that it has 500 line crews and 250 tree crews on standby. In other dramatic weather news, 6 families are stranded in the eastern Connecticut town of Scotland, where 3 bridges have gone out. The bridges on Brook and Bass Roads were overwhelmed with nearly a foot of water that rushed over top the bridges Wednesday evening during severe thunderstorms, eventually causing them to collapse. A new prescription drug discount card will be available to Connecticut residents as of October 2nd. State Controller Sean Scanlon says the card will be offering discounts of as much as 80% on generic drugs, 20% on name brands. He says while anyone can get the card, there are certainly people that the discounts are aimed at.
People on high deductible health plans, which is the predominant number of people who have insurance in our state and frankly in our country right now, if they have a high deductible and they're not going to meet that deductible, this card is for them, and they will be able to see some big savings.
Scanlon says that the discounts will also apply to the uninsured, the undocumented, and seniors whose Medicare coverage does not include prescriptions. The discounts cannot be combined with other prescription drug coverage. 98% of the state's pharmacies will be participating in the program, both independent and chains. It's been almost a week since the cyber attack crippled operations at MGM hotels and casinos across the United States, and the company says that it still has not been able to fix security issues. The FBI is investigating the breach that left the resort chain vulnerable and guests afraid for their personal data. It comes as Caesars Entertainment, another Vegas casino giant, announced that it had also been the victim of a cyber attack in recent weeks. Correspondent Elise Preston spoke with an expert about how companies are dealing with these cyber attacks.
CBS News cybersecurity expert Chris Krebs says American companies are too vulnerable to these kinds of attacks.
We've been in a half decade or so now of very disruptive and in some cases destructive ransomware and cyber criminal attacks that we need a more muscular approach. Even if you are able to get some of these folks, another's going to pop up right behind them because they've been able to demonstrate that is a very lucrative profession, that cybercrime pays, and it pays very, very well.
According to Bloomberg, Caesars Entertainment was forced to pay about $15 million in ransom to restore its systems.
Taking a look at markets, they are lower with the Dow 23 points in the red, S&P 500 down 21 points, NASDAQ is shedding 130 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm Morgan Cunningham, WTIC 1080 News.
I'm Tom Kaminsky from the Brown Payne Dearest Scott Traffic Center. This update brought to you by Touchpoints in the Manchester area, eastbound side of Route 384. Road work there for about a mile and a half in the vicinity of Exit 5, and in Wallingford, the northbound side of Route 91. Road work for about a 6-mile stretch between Exit 14 and Exit 16. That's a look at your WTIC traffic. I'm Tom Kaminsky.
Traffic is brought to you by Eye Care Health Network and Touchpoints Rehab.
iCare Skilled Nursing Care Centers are more than your typical nursing home. iCare Health Network and Touchpoints Rehab Centers. With 11 locations in Greater Hartford, there's an iCare Care Center conveniently located near you. Visit iCareHN.com to learn more.
How's your mental health? I'm listening with Michael Phelps.
You know, I think for me in 2014, when I found myself in that dark place where I didn't want to be alive in those 4 days when I was in my room by myself, I wanted to find a different way. I wanted to find a different answer. I was sick and tired of feeling how I felt, and that's why I started to seek help, and that's when I checked myself into a treatment center.
Now more than ever, drug and alcohol use are on the rise. If you are suffering from an addiction, don't wait. Seek help now.
Located in Westboro, Massachusetts, the New England Recovery Center offers inpatient detoxification and residential treatment services. Recovery is possible. Visit newenglandrecoverycenter.org for more information or call 877-MY-REHAB. Most insurance plans accepted and transportation is available. Please call 877-697-3422. Call 877-MY-REHAB today.
Join us for Odyssey's I'm Listening mental health conversation on Sunday, September 25th at 10 a.m.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. September is World Ozone Month, so it's a great month to get rid of all your aerosol sprays. When we each share a one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Eagle Rivet is the roofing company for commercial buildings.
Morning.
Eagle will inspect, repair, and maintain your commercial
Zappa,
roof
he's
systems
not.
to get maximum life out of your roof, from small repairs. to
I take his
complete
call
replacement. Eagle Rivet has roofing systems
because
that will be
it's
best
it's
for your
actually
building.
entertaining to
Service
me.
calls are answered within 24 hours. Call Eagle Rivet Roof Service today at 860-953-1231. 860-953-1231. Or visit them online at eaglerivet.com. Eagle Rivet is a proud sponsor of Rebuilding Together Hartford.
Have you tried everything you can think of to bring comfort to your tired and achy feet? Don't lose hope. The Good Feet store has helped countless people for whom expensive shoes, cushions, other types of inserts, or even shots didn't work. Listen to this real Good Feet story from Jennifer. She finally found the comfort she was looking for at the Good Feet store.
I'm a very active person that likes to move around and go. The pain I was in was really excruciating. I was basically heading towards a sedentary lifestyle. I had really tried everything, but I quickly lost hope with all of the things that we had tried, and that's what led me to the Good Feet store. And when I found the Good Feet system, it really just changed everything. It brought me back to life. I have my active lifestyle back.
We want to help you get your active lifestyle back. Come in today for your free fitting and test walk. We're located at 25 Climax Road in Avon. Call 606-7995 or learn more at goodfeet.com.
Brian Shackman here for Certa Pro Painters. Yeah, you're looking outside your home or your business and you're like, man,
This is the last one, man.
to look better. You should give Certa Pro.
Thank you, sir.
They'll give you a free estimate, and the truth is they do a great
Damn it.
job. They were honestly,
I still have Stephen George, right?
They also did it timely.
Yes, sir. They're both still on. Yeah.
Okay,
Day,
thank
they
you.
did it in a day, and it was awesome. So give them a call. Each Certa Pro Painters business, by the way, is independently owned and operated, and you can schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
You're listening to Reese on the Radio, filling in today for Will Marotti on WTIC News Talk 1080.
I have a strange feeling that song just turned 40 years old. It's either that or Moni Moni. But that's certain. Somebody on Facebook posted something that's like songs that turned 40 years old. And it was so depressing. Like there was a degree of it, it just went, oh. There was like after I heard all the songs, I was like, oh man. I was just listening to that song. Jesus. 40 years ago. Ugh, it just sounds awful. Anyway, if you're just joining us, you just sat down in your office, had your first cup of coffee, argued with your boss or your coworker, and you've, done whatever. You probably missed it, but we'll recap. I am predicting that Joe Biden will resign. I believe that Joe Biden will resign right around Thanksgiving. And they'll make it look like, I think the objective here is to look like just when everyone in America is gathering around being thankful for their loved ones. Joe Biden decided to reflect on that sentiment across the country and said for his family, for the struggles that they've endured throughout his presidency, it is best that he step aside and take care of the things that are important to him, like so many Americans are doing this Thanksgiving. I'm sorry. I could write this. I could just hire me. I can't give this stuff away for free. But that's why I think it'll be on Thanksgiving. It can't happen around Christmas. It's awful. It's like putting coal in a stocking. It's got to be right around Thanksgiving. Or maybe during the Thanksgiving season. Don't do it on Halloween. But do it on Thanksgiving. So I'm taking your calls. Do you think I'm out of sorts? Do you believe it'll happen earlier? Do you think it won't happen at all? That he'll actually run in 2024? I don't want to get into the Michelle Obama thing because that, trust me, I got so much hate on Instagram because I mentioned her name. You keep her name out your mouth. Even mentioning Michelle Obama is like got me so much backlash. But anyway, I'm taking your calls on that sentiment. Let's go to Steve and Andover. Hello, Steve. You're on Reese On The Radio on the Will Marati Show. Hey, man.
So I'm going to disagree with you.
Oh, please.
So there's a lecturer named Gordon Graham. Okay. He uses this term, and he says the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior.
Okay.
If you analyze Biden's past behavior, and I'm going to go back to that famous incident with the union worker that confronted him about gun control.
Oh, yeah.
He screamed in the guy's face.
Yeah.
I don't work for you.
Oh.
I think that is what sets the tone for what we're talking about here, because Joe Biden doesn't care about any of this.
Right.
His belief is he doesn't work for us.
Right.
And if you look at the level of arrogance and narcissism that goes on with this guy, through all of these accusations and all the stuff that he's done, it leaves a trail of nobody is going to tell him what to do. Even to the point of this. You look at all the blunders that he makes, all the stupid stuff that comes out of his mouth.
Right.
You know his handlers are telling him, Joe, shut up.
Yeah.
When you go to the podium, just read off the teleprompter. Do not ad-lib, but he won't listen to them, and he still makes these stupid blunders. So an individual with this kind of psychology and personality is not going to just quit in the middle of a term. What he's going to do, in my view, is last this term out and then fade off into the sunset as a one-term president who did the best thing for the party and the nation because he knows he's getting a little bit older, he's slowing down, and he wants to drive his Corvette once he moves all the secret files that are in his garage. And then he'll just kind of, disappear. But again, if you look at his past behaviors, none of that is indicative of him going to give up midstream.
There's a good point.
Too much of a narcissist.
Let me,
to do that.
Steve, you make a great point, and you're right. That little tete-a-tete with the auto worker, with that factory worker saying I don't work for you was an apparent slip up by him. But you're right, and I also agree with you with the whole thing. I said this on my podcast earlier this week. Like he's running out there saying to the press and the audience at large, he's saying things like, don't tell him I didn't come out with my mask on. I'll get into trouble. All right, I'm only supposed to answer this question. If I answer any more, they're going to yell at me. It always seems like the pop at the nursing home that's trying to hide the abuse back at the inside the walls. That he doesn't want anybody to know about. So there's a degree of that, I believe. I think you're right that he doesn't care. He's a crotchety old man who's going to do what he wants to do no matter what. He doesn't care how embarrassing he gets. He's still going to do it. I agree with you. But I think at some point they're going to ask Joe Biden because remember what they need to do, right? They need to make Donald Trump look so unattractive that he can win even if he doesn't look attractive, right? But those poll numbers, that the opposite is happening. Last week, that statistical tie was 46-47, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, respectively, in a national poll, right? National election. This week, just yesterday, that same poll number was 46 Joe Biden, 48 Trump. He went up a point after the indictment. in Fulton County, Georgia. So this doesn't look good. And I believe that you're right. Personally, Joe Biden would never, ever resign. I think the party forces him to because, again, I think they're the ones who are helming the ship. I mean, to some degree.
Without a doubt. But the issue is this. In order to leverage him out, whatever dirt they are going to pull out on him, and there's got to be tons of skeletons in closets buried deep in Washington and in Delaware, but whatever dirt they're going to pull out to leverage him is going to so damage the party, that James Carville's going to come in and, Blabbermouth Schultz, all these party people are going to be like, we can't do that because it's going to so damage the party and the image that especially the national election, but any of the down ballot stuff is going to be catastrophic for the Democrats in the next election.
Yeah.
So I don't see them pulling out whatever ace card they have that is going to be the thing that leverages them out because they know that that's going to down ballot them down the line. That's why I think he's just going to ride this out and then sort of fade off at the end of this term.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll be catastrophic for the party.
Yeah. No, trust me. Don't get me wrong. I don't believe myself to be omnipotent here. You make a very, very strong argument in the counter. You do. And I don't think it's enough to sway me yet, but it's enough for me to say, you know what? You're right on point. The party will always save itself, right? But that's the reason why I kind of believe they wish to cast him aside and then rebuild by bringing someone they think is clearly more positive than Donald Trump. This is the Gavin Newsom, angle that I've been talking about forever, even though he's claiming now he's not going to do it. I think the Democrats will tell Kamala Harris eventually to say, listen, sister girl, we love you, but we got to bring Gavin in. I'm just saying. But thank you, Steve. I appreciate the counter. It does make a lot of sense, though. It does. Don't get me wrong. I'm not dismissing it or poo-pooing it. It's a good angle. Thank you, sir. Let's go to George in Canton. Hello, George. You're on with Reese on the Radio on the Will Marotti Show.
Greetings, Reese.
Good. Hello, sir. George, I love your voice. It's so great to hear your voice.
So do I, Reese. Actually, so do I. In the words of Rush Limbaugh, I love saying what I say, and I love hearing me say it. Yes, I do. A couple of things, if I may.
Sure.
First of all, with regard to Paul and Tim, these two astute fellows, I don't understand why the programming folks at TIC are not bright enough to give them their own show, because all they do is kvetch about everybody on TIC being conservatives or leaning to the right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they could garner an audience, shouldn't they have some time on a show to sell advertising and make money for the man?
I don't know whether or not the two of them would work together. Tim, on the other hand, nothing against Paul. Tim, on the other hand, I kind of agree with you. I think Tim, there should be. Remember when Hannity used to do the show with Combs? Used to be Hannity and Combs? Yeah, that would be a great. Tim and some other conservative would be a great show.
Well, my guess is, they could fail alone or fail together. But here, do you remember, Reese, back in the days of Rush? I think it might have been Harry Reid there was a term that seems to get lost. Things get lost in the. They accused Bush or someone. The term was, it isn't the nature of the crime. It's the seriousness of the charge.
I remember it greatly.
Now, earlier on the show, on the station this morning, I don't listen to the early show with Brian. I just have issues with people who seem to just straddle the middle. But he was talking with David Lightman, and at the end of the show, the comment was made about how there isn't enough evidence being shown that for them to start proceedings against Biden with an impeachment. Well, now, Bill Clinton said it all depends on what the meaning of is.
Yeah.
Well, who defines evidence? If people won't look at the information presented,
right,
and they refuse to call it evidence, then it isn't evidence.
Well, what about this? Let's consider this. That is a talking point. by a lot of people in this sphere, right? Those who are protective of Joe Biden keep using the term, there is no evidence to require an impeachment inquiry, which is disingenuous on its face. The purpose of the inquiry, right? We're talking about an impeachment inquiry to find information, to gather information, to warrant an impeachment. Here's what we're saying. We have circumstantial evidence that seems we have bank accounts that are flagged, suspicious activity with regards to money, and foreign dignitaries that have rung the alarm, right? That mean that we have to do an investigation to find out if there's any impropriety or anything illegal that has happened. If we find nothing, no impeachment. But the defense or the pushback for just an inquiry, there's no evidence for an inquiry. Wait a minute. The reason why we have investigations is to gather evidence. So you're putting the cart before the horse.
That's another term. You see, the appearance of impropriety.
Exactly.
Remember when Gary Hart had to drop out of the race because what's her name? I've forgotten. The dancer was sitting on his lap.
That's correct.
On that yacht, the monkey business. He had to drop out because of the appearance of impropriety.
Exactly.
How much more self-incriminating could it be for Joe Biden to be on camera and saying, if you don't fire that guy in 6 hours, you're not getting $1 billion?
And the other part is, how about this one?
What if Trump had said that?
George, here's the one thing that no one ever talks about. And the reason why I said, even if it's nothing, here's the question I want everybody to ask. Just ask this question. If Hunter Biden sent a text message to his adult daughter saying, which we know he did, but if we know that it's there, but let's just use his own words.
Yeah.
At least I don't make you give me half your salary like Pop does or like Dad does, right? The question is, did anybody ask the adult daughter, Hunter Biden, President Biden, what did Hunter mean by giving you half his salary for a job you had nothing to do with, you didn't help him sustain, isn't related to you at all? Why would your son have to give you half of an $83,000 a month salary? Why did he have to do it? What did he owe you? How much money did you loan him if that was the case?
In the interview I just saw, the little clip of Trump being interviewed on, was it ABC yesterday?
NBC.
The interviewer asked him, now that Hunter's been indicted, do you still say there's a two-tiered system? What I wish Trump had said to her was, wait a minute, you're the journalist. Why are you not asking questions? Why it took almost 5 years to indict him?
Exactly.
Trump didn't do that. I'm shocked at the fact that he tried to just explain that, there is a two-tiered. No. And you know, the notion that people are refusing to see the clarity. You know, there's a saying that in the valley of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. The one-eyed men have their eyes closed.
George, let me say this. I'll let you go. Very important point is that Kristen Welker, I think is her name, who interviewed Trump, to show you how ridiculous this woman is as a reporter, right? Here we have a guy, David Weiss, who was in charge of the investigation before he became special counsel. We're talking about a gun charge where the evidence hasn't changed since 2018, does not get to an indictment on said gun charges until 5 years later after he's made special counsel, which should be in anyone's face. Well, that's peculiar, and they don't even bother. But thank you, George. Yes, go ahead.
Are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What about Hunter? It just had on Fox this morning. Hunter's wife is the one who dumped the gun. Is anyone charging her?
Exactly.
That's a crime in and of itself.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was going to mention Sun Tzu, and I think then Pogo quoted him. We have met the enemy, and they are us. Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you, Reese.
Thank you, sir. I really, really appreciate the call. Matt, real quick, do we need to go to a break, or can I go to the top? I mean, the bottom.
I got to take a break here.
Okay, got to take a break. I'll come back, grabbing the rest of your phone calls when we return. It's Reese on the Radio, filling in for Pastor Will Marati on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope, and they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make it fun and engaging, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are.
If I didn't say it earlier, I want to say good morning to Anthony and Jeff Ferroni. Thank you guys for joining us. And LA. Hey, LA. How you doing?
Babbel's lessons are designed to get you speaking right away.
Hello, ex-wife.
Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are designed by language experts and voiced by real native speakers, you'll get the accents just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
And now, try Babbel free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Ron had a tax problem he just couldn't handle on his own.
I owed the IRS taxes for over 5 years, but I didn't have any money to pay the taxes.
Those years cost him dearly.
Most of it was fees and interest. It was horrible.
Ron finally called in the pros.
I called Optima Tax Relief, and boy, am I happy I did.
The leading tax resolution firm, Optima, is A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau. They've resolved over $1 billion for their clients. Ron was overjoyed.
They settled my account with the IRS. I was ecstatic. They are a lifesaver. They are. I am so happy.
Take Ron's advice and call Optima now for a free consultation.
Yeah, don't do like I did and wait. Call Optima Tax Relief. Do it now. You'll be ecstatic like me.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Jason Alexander.
I wanted to be William Shatner.
Live, as long as you're asking.
November 3rd at the Bushnell. When I first got the chance to audition for Seinfeld, I looked at those 4 pages and I said, well, they kind of sound like a Woody Allen movie. My George Costanza was blatantly Woody Allen. That's where the glasses came from. That's where the thick New York accent came from.
Tickets on sale now at Bushnell.org.
What a night!
Proceeds to benefit the Hartford Healthcare Cancer Institute at Hartford Hospital.
Hi, I'm PJ Vogt, here to tell you about my new podcast, Search Engine. On Search Engine, we tackle the kinds of questions that keep you up at night. Like, why are drug dealers putting fentanyl in everything? Should we be worried that Elon Musk believes that we're living in a simulation? And, for the love of God, is it actually unsafe to drink the coffee on airplanes? On Search Engine, no question is too big and no question is too small. Listen and follow Search Engine with PJ Vogt and Odyssey Podcast. Available now on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
One day, same day, 7 days a week, you can be treated at Columbia Implant Center in Manchester. With an on-site digital dental lab, you'll save time and money. Call 860-730-6020 or visit ColumbiaImplantCenter.com.
It's important to understand how trust can affect your estate planning. Tune in this Sunday to The Legal Exchange with Todd Lutzke and learn about how to demystify estate planning trusts. That's The Legal Exchange, Sunday at 9:30 on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Hi, I'm Kathy. I work here at the seafood counter. This is my big why.
And I'm Mark. I like to call myself an aspirational seafood chef. That's my big why.
A few months ago, he didn't know the difference between halibut and haddock.
Well, I've been watching Big Y's seafood recipe videos, and it's paying off.
It's easy to make a good meal when he's cooking with fish sourced from our local partner, North Coast Seafoods.
My secret is Nellie's grass-fed butter from New Hampshire. But let's keep that between us.
Your secret's safe with me.
It's more than food. It's my big why.
And now, a WTIC news update.
10:30, Hartford temperature 61 degrees. I'm Morgan Cunningham, WTIC 1080 News. Calling hours are at 2 this afternoon, starting for fallen Hartford detective Bobby Garten. He was killed in the line of duty last week in a crash. A suspect fleeing a traffic stop slammed into the cruiser. He and another officer were inside. That officer, Brian Kearney, is released from the hospital this week as he recovers from serious injuries. Detective Garten is being remembered as a man who loved his job in his city, a second-generation officer. He'll be remembered during the wake today, again starting at 2 and going until 7 this evening at Duncan Park in Hartford. A celebration of life begins tomorrow morning at 10 at the Excel Center in downtown. The public is welcome to attend either of those memorials, but the burial tomorrow will be private. CT Rail is making rides free on its Hartford line trains tomorrow and today as well for uniformed first responders and members of the military who want to attend the services. Rides are free, not just for those in uniform, but also those who aren't in uniform, but they do have to show identification about their status. State Department of Transportation spokesman Josh Morgan.
Given how much incredible work the law enforcement community does for us here in Connecticut, and after this unspeakable tragedy, we just wanted to do this small gesture to try to provide some alternative transportation options to hopefully allow more people to attend these services, to honor the life of Bobby Garton, and to pay their respects.
He says the DOT is also doing less road work in Hartford throughout the weekend to allow for easier flow of increased traffic. While Connecticut is not expecting a direct hit from Hurricane Lee, it's Eversource that's saying they're ready to deal with any power outages that may come out of the storm. The Power Utilities Emergency Response Plan has been activated. Eversource President of Connecticut Operations, Steve Sullivan, says now's a good time to restock your storm kits.
If you don't already have a storm kit, assemble one or refresh one. Think of water supplies, any essential prescriptions, flashlights, batteries, and then your mobile devices. Make sure by tomorrow afternoon your mobile devices are fully charged.
Connecticut is forecast to see winds in the 40-mile-per-hour range Saturday. Unprecedented flooding leads to 6 families stranded in Windham County. They're in the town of Scotland, where 3 bridges collapsed due to flooding from heavy rains in the last week. Nearly a foot of rainwater went over the bridges during Wednesday's storms, causing the pressure to overwhelm the now failed bridges. The Coast Guard Academy is now the focus of a U.S. Senate investigation, reports WTIC's David Shapiro.
This investigation comes at the request of 2 senators, including Connecticut Democrat Richard Blumenthal. He and Wisconsin Republican Ron Johnson want to know more about the alleged mishap.
All right, that's no big deal. I've got another story I need to cram in here anyway. So I'm glad, unfortunately, that they had to leave, but the next story is my favorite one.
Blumenthal and Johnson write that it is unclear whether those responsible are still in the Coast Guard. David Shapiro, WTIC 1080 News.
An investigating judge at Spain's High Court imposes a restraining order to prevent former soccer chief from having contact with the victim in the case, correspondent Vicky Barker.
An investigating judge at Spain's High Court has just issued a restraining order against Luis Rubiales to prevent the former soccer chief from approaching World Cup winner Jenny Hermoso. In his first court appearance to answer possible criminal charges, Rubiales once again insisted the kiss he planted on Hermoso's lips was consensual, something she denies. Rubiales is now forbidden to approach within 500 yards of her. Vicky Barker, CBS News, London.
Markets are down. The Dow is losing 136 points. S&P 500, 25 points down, and the NASDAQ is shedding 130 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm Morgan Cunningham, WTIC 1080 News.
I'm Tom Kaminsky from the Brown Payne Dearest Scott Traffic Center. Roadwork both directions now on Route 91, northbound side in Wallingford between exit 14 and exit 16. That's about a 6-mile stretch. And on the southbound side, just for a half mile through Hartford between exit 31 and exit 29A. That's a look at your WTIC traffic. I'm Tom Kaminsky.
Exergen is the smart choice when selecting your thermometer because accuracy matters. Exergen thermometers are fast, non-invasive, clinically accurate, and available for medical and home use. Find Exergen thermometers at Walmart and Walgreens. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Local weather. WTIC's Bob Cox.
Today we're on the outer part of the cloud shield associated with Hurricane Lee, so see some of those high and mid-level clouds mixed with partial sun. A northerly breeze at about 10 to 15 miles an hour with a few gusts of 20 plus, and a high temperature close to 70, give or take, this afternoon. Mostly cloudy tonight, lows be in the 50s. There's about a 40% chance you might get a couple of showers into the eastern half of Connecticut by Saturday morning. Otherwise, we'll start out rather cloudy. Clouds will tend to thin during the afternoon with some partial sun mixing in at some point. It's on the breezy to windy side tomorrow. Could see some gusts out of the northwest at 35 to 40 miles an hour, probably a tad lower than that in Hartford. And high temperatures in the low to mid 70s. It becomes mostly clear during Saturday night, lows in the 50s. Sunshine Sunday, mixing with a few clouds in the afternoon, the high near 80. I'm meteorologist Bob Cox in the WTIC Weather Center.
Bouvier Insurance is your local independent agency. Insure like family with Bouvier Insurance. To get a review of your policies and the customer service you deserve, visit binsurance.com. That's binsurance.com.
When it's time to update your kitchen or bathroom, Cristino Kitchens will help you find the latest trends, furnishings, and styles for your home. Cristino Kitchens is a locally owned business with over 35 years of experience, providing remodeling services throughout Connecticut. Work with our experienced professionals to renovate your bathroom or kitchen. You'll work directly with a designer, helping you navigate the trends, make the most of your space, and get a complete vision and plan. Visit our brand new showroom at 160 Oak Street in Glastonbury, or visit us at CristinoKitchens.com.
Brian Shackman here for the FanDuel Sportsbook. Oh, man, football. I cannot wait. And FanDuel is making it tougher to wait, but more fun to play. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's win or lose on that $5 bet. They put $200 right into your account. Plus, all customers bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. FanDuel.com/Brian1080. Got to be 21, though, and present in Connecticut. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit is required. That bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions and terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, 1-888-789-7777 or online at ccpg.org/chat. NFL Sunday ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
Truckloads of Sundance Spas have arrived at Superior Hearth Spas and Leisure. Factory direct sale pricing on all 2023 models for 3 weeks only at Connecticut's largest hot tub destination. Choose the model, color, and options while getting the lowest pricing of the season. Receive a Kingsley Bait outdoor furniture credit valued up to $2,000 with any Sundance Spa purchase. Shop now before the deals are gone. Sale ends October 1st. Always superior products, always superior service. SuperiorAtHome.com.
Exergen thermometers are more accurate than non-contact thermometers. As your children return to school, keeping them healthy is important. Clinical studies have proven that non-contact thermometers can miss fevers due to inaccuracies. Accuracy matters. That's why Exergen is trusted and used by medical professionals. Exergen is available at Walmart and Walgreens, so you can have a trusted.
Hey Matt, what is the what's the weight loss thing that you and Tom Shattuck are on? What's the name of it that the ads we run here?
Awaken 180.
Yes. How do I get on that?
Get NordVPN. Simple click.
I'm sure you could call
online trackers. Secure your device.
I would start with Janine, but
yeah, I'll send her an email.
To malicious websites.
I know Jeff Chandler is the
without trackers.
Is he the sales rep on it?
Yeah, the sales rep on it. Yeah.
Okay. All right, let me get in touch with Janine.
Be more cyber zen.
Do you like it so far? I mean, I know Tom swears by it, but I know you just started.
No, I just started 3 weeks ago, and I hit the 25-pound mark already.
Holy crap! Really?
Yeah, and it's dude, I haven't done a bit of exercising.
Okay.
Which is, I'm fucking lazy, so it's really awesome.
Okay, good. Okay, all right. So I'm going to send her an email today.
Proper protection from the pitfall.
They provide 80% of the food for you to eat, bro. It's the simplest shit I've ever done.
With Jim Corso, 7 a.m.
Okay, all right. I got
commercial.
See NewsTalk 1080.
You're listening to Reese on the Radio, filling in today for Will Marotti on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, holla, holla, pop your collar. We are back. I want to say my apologies to James and Mark. I know you guys had to go, but don't worry, we'll get another opportunity when we get another opportunity. I'm sure it'll come soon. Also want to say hello to David D., who's on the chat room. Says, thank you for another great show. My pleasure to serve it with you. And George the Voice. I'm going to find another name for him, but we got to get that guy. That guy's got to do. Paul Harvey always comes to mind when I think of him. Such a great voice. God, his voice is beautiful. Something I wanted to talk about early on, but I was trying to stay away from it. You know, it just because someone sent it to me on Facebook and they were like, Reese, you need to see this story. And then I saw this story and I said, okay, I can't let it go. I can't. And I just couldn't. George is going to hate me. George, forgive me, but I'm going, okay, they're back. All right, give me a second. Hold on. I just want to play this real quick, okay? And it's Black News. Black News. This was actually on News Channel 8, and I can't stop laughing.
Shane Hawkins has been a driver for CT Transit for nearly 2 decades. He tells us this is something he never expected to see at his place of work. He made this discovery yesterday morning, and he's felt the weight of it ever since. It's also had an impact on his coworkers.
There's just so much going on right now in society, and the last thing you want to do is see this at your place of work.
Here's what happened. As he was leaving the bus garage in Hamden Wednesday morning to start his day, he was startled by this sight, an apparent noose hanging down. He took this photo, sharing it with News 8. It was reported to a member of his team, and CT Transit tells us they looked into it immediately. The state-owned bus company explained there are several ropes in their bus maintenance facility for supporting the battery electric bus charging cables. And those ropes are used to make sure the cables retract up. They tell us in a statement, quote, "We do not suspect any ill intent. However, perception can lead to one's reality. We are sensitive to the issues here at CT Transit. Once management became aware of the incident as reported, we removed the loop on the supporting rope used to hold the charging cables for the battery electric buses." They added they've ordered pull handles to attach to the ends of these ropes to avoid future misunderstanding. Shane says in the 2 to 3 years of having these charging stations, he has never seen any kind of rope hanging down. He's called Hamden Police to file a complaint, and the Connecticut NAACP has been notified as well.
Shane Hawkins, listen to my voice. Stop. Stop. Just stop. Nobody believes that anyone had any ill intent. Neither do you. I hope that you have a degree of integrity, brother. Just a degree of integrity. Tell the NAACP to stand down, chill out. There's no need to file a police report or a complaint. You've worked there for years. You've never seen them there. You've got no grievances with them because that would have been reported as well. You mistook a rope that was tied with the loop as a noose. If you're looking for a racial undertone, you'll find it, especially if you're looking for it. The fact that you called the NAACP, the fact that you called the police is obvious. You're looking for some sort of penance here. Please, my brother, just don't do it. Just don't do it. I know you seem like a decent man, and I'm going to go based on that, okay? But please, go no further, all right? And that's Black News. Thank you. I appreciate you. To the phones we go. My brother from another mother, James in Windsor, is on the line. Hello, James. You're on Reese On The Radio.
Getting back to now, okay. You see like a rope simulating a noose.
Yeah.
Now, if I saw a mannequin hanging from the noose,
yes,
then I would totally understand.
Yes.
What that means. Okay. Now, with all the seriousness in the world, I want to just throw you out a joke.
Okay.
And the Jamaican brothers don't take offense, but what do you call a Jamaican proctologist?
I don't know.
A pokeyman.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. Yeah, but okay. So I'm going to make a comment, and it's going to come true because within our past political situations, dealing with really important, very, very important politicians.
Right.
You know what's going to happen to Hunter Biden and Joe Biden?
What do you think?
Which means not a damn thing.
I agree with you. Look, again, I don't think anybody's going to see a day in jail. I think that everyone will be able to ride off in the sunset. I think that, copacetic, but I think the political career of Joseph R. Biden is over. And guess what? He'll get a swan song.
Well, he's going to get get a rocking chair and a warm blanket and some cocoa. Because, I mean, basically, the man is too old to do anything to us. Okay?
Yeah.
First of all, they're going to feel sorry because he's elderly. And then he's like Donald Trump said, he's losing his fastball.
Yeah.
Okay? So what do? When a pitcher is no longer be able to pitch, they put him out to pasture.
Yep.
You know?
That's what they got to do.
With a blanket sucking his thumb. Okay? But basically, that's it. That's it. Because these politics, see, that's why they're throwing so much caca at Trump.
Yeah.
Because, hey, they're scared to death.
Oh yeah, listen. This is the perfect storm. What's so crazy about it is that, again, we had to wait 3.5 years, almost three and a half years for this to come, to come full circle, as it always does. I don't believe in the whole karma thing. That's another discussion. But guess what? When you do dirt, you get dirt, as they say. You know that saying, right?
When you throw caca in a fan,
that's right.
And you're in the path of the fan, you get it on you too.
Exactly.
They don't care. They are so desperately after this man. I mean, it's almost like it's like sexual stimulation. Because now look at it like this, okay? You got cocaine in the White House, and the investigation took 2 weeks.
Right.
For them to say, well, we dropped it because there's nothing going on here.
Yeah.
Dude, they found chronic in the White House.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't sit up there. You know what I mean? You know what the terms I mean. I don't know if everybody else knows, but chronic is another term for drugs.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you got all this video surveillance, you got all this metal detection, you got all these cameras everywhere,
and nothing.
They can tell your temperature from 20 feet away. Okay? I mean, because if you go in there, you're a terrorist. Number one, your heartbeat will be elevated to the 8th degree.
Right.
Now they will know that, and that's why they keep an eye on you. How the hell can you get cocaine in the White House and there is no video fingerprints and no face counts?
Yeah.
But then again, the investigation, it only lasted 2 weeks, and they said, "Oh, we found nothing. Okay, good night. Have a nice night."
Yep, that's exactly right.
No. I mean, even if the bag of chronic had HB on it, they would still deny it.
If it had his initials in his own little monogram bag.
Yeah, I know Hunter must be going, damn, they found one of my stashes.
Yeah, right. Exactly. When they found out that the cocaine was inside the White House, you don't think Hunter said, "Where'd you find it?"
No. He gonna do like any other black man that get caught by the police. It ain't mine.
Thank you, James. Let's move on. George is on the line. George, thank you for calling back. George in St. Louis is on the line. Let's get into this. So the historic strike at the Detroit 3 automakers is now underway, and this is the United Auto Workers strike, which we knew was coming. I think for a week now we knew this was coming. George has a take on it. George, what do you got? What do you think? How do you think this is going to affect, if not presidential politics, but just politics overall?
Well, Reese, Wentzville is 20 miles from where I'm sitting. Here's the way this is going. The way I see this going down. The UAW Democrats, they voted Biden in.
Right.
And the Biden government is wreaked havoc with inflation and wrecked everybody's standard of living. So now the UAW is hurting. They want more money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the government, the UAW voted in with their high inflation has wrecked their standard of living. So now the UAW is going on strike for more money. Yeah.
They want 40% in pay raises.
Yeah. Well, actually, the latest figure I heard was 30%, and that I don't know anybody in the whole planet that gets a 30% pay increase. So that's outrageous. So now let the trucks go from, this is at Wentzville, a truck costs $62K.
Wow.
They go from $62K to $90K because that's the increase from the after effects of the strike.
Right. If they get what they ask for, the price of the truck goes from $62,000 to $95,000.
Yeah, exactly. So now everybody pays. Inflation goes up. A new round of inflation is lit off. You know, you got higher food prices, gas, and housing now because of the effects of the strike. Now Biden, with his Inflation Reduction Act, he's giving car manufacturers money to convert their lines, the car lines.
Right, to electric?
To build electric cars. Yeah, electric cars. The electric cars don't need as much work requirement, labor requirement.
Right.
They only require 60% of the UAW workforce if you're building electric cars.
Which leads to mass firing.
Yeah. Now, then the idiots in Washington with the electric cars is going to require an expansion of the electric grid. You're going to need 40% more energy to supply electricity to the electric cars that you're now flooding the market with.
Yeah.
You know, something we didn't need before, by the way. Something was never required before.
I'll be honest with you, George, and I am going to have to go. But listen, what comes of this has already gotten into presidential politics, because now people are asking, how is this strike going to affect the Biden administration? I'm just going, can we just deal with how it's going to affect the American people when they go to buy a car or go to buy a truck, nowadays? But I do have to take a break. But George, I'm glad that you got a chance to come in, because it is something that we need to watch, and I'm going to talk about it tonight on the podcast. I hope you'll check it out. But thank you so much for the call. I appreciate you, sir. Let's take Mark in West Hartford. Can we take Mark, or do we have to take a? Yeah, we have to take a break. I apologize. We'll take a break. We'll come back real quick, and then we'll take Mark, and then we'll wrap it up. It's Reese on the Radio, filling in for Will Marati on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Circuses are ready at Danbury Fair Mall. Trapeze artists, jugglers, acrobats, a traditional circus show with live orchestra and performers, with more fun for the entire family, which is red and white picked up at Danbury Fair Mall starting this Friday 15 till the 25. You can't miss out. Buy now and save at flipcircus.com.
Visit Flip Circus at the Danbury Fair Mall, September 15th through September 25th.
Important healthcare announcement. If people tell you your TV is too loud, or if listening in some environments has become too difficult, we're requesting your participation in a special program called the 30-Day Risk-Free Challenge. Hearing Life Hearing Centers are seeking people with hearing difficulties to evaluate the latest in hearing aid technology now being released. All people with hearing aids or hearing difficulties are wanted to take part in this 30-day risk-free challenge, evaluating this new high-tech device that sits discreetly behind your ear. This hearing aid is Bluetooth-enabled and rechargeable. Participants will try these hearing aids for 30 days. Now, to take part in this event, you must call Hearing Life at 888-849-4041 to schedule your complimentary hearing assessment. Call us at 888-849-4041 to take the Hearing Life 30-Day Risk-Free Challenge.
I'm Joe with Simple Sales CT, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 203-896-4000. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and more importantly, anywhere in Connecticut. I am a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trash and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying junk houses. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and even foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 203-896-4000. That's 203-896-4000. 203-896-4000. That's 203-896-4000. 4,000.
Attention taxpayers, ready for some bad news? With $80 billion in new funding from Congress, the IRS has launched their most aggressive hiring campaign ever to ramp up enforcement. If you're ignoring your taxes, don't delay another minute because your paycheck, your bank account, even your home or business could already be at risk. Now, here's the good news. Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm, can get to work immediately, helping to protect you from the IRS. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, their tax attorneys and licensed professionals are experts at resolving tax problems. Let them help determine if you qualify for the Fresh Start Initiative or other powerful IRS tax assistance programs. Take control. Call Optima Tax Relief now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This is Reese on the Radio, filling in for Wilma Roddy on WTIC News Talk 1080.
It's always sad when we have to wrap it up. Anyway, we've got to go. Anyway, so, I wanted to make sure that I made this programming note. So the Reese on the Radio Rundown, which normally airs on Sundays at 1 p.m., we'll be back on October 1st because, of course, the Red Sox season will be over by then, or at least the baseball season, regular season will be over. So we'll be back on Sundays, 1 p.m. Is it 2 or 1? I think it's 1. 1 p.m. It's been so long, I forgot. It's Reese on the Radio Rundown. You'll see us there on Sundays. Courtney Ann from Real and Raw Radio will be back there doing Courtney's Courtroom, and we'll be back to talk about all the news and all the views. Let me get to how long do I have? I have enough time to get to Mark. If not,
I got 2 minutes.
Okay, let's go to Mark in West Hartford. Hello, Mark. You on my Reese on the Radio?
Hey, just real quick, and this is for your listeners too. You saw what I just sent you.
Yeah.
Anytime this issue comes up with utility knots that get misinterpreted as nooses, I want you to look up fire department rescue knots.
Yes.
Reese, I just sent you one.
I saw it.
Knots. Eight of them look like nooses. In fact, 2 of them look like you can hang 2 people at one time.
I know.
I mean, this is just, every fire department across the country should get canceled out because they utilize these knots all the time.
It's
for rescue, for carrying an extra tank up maybe to a window, for whatever. It's just got to stop.
Yeah, it's.
I don't understand why the news even gives us any credibility.
There it is. Mark, that's what it was. And I wanted so badly to call News Channel 8 on this one to go, you do not understand how irresponsible it is to tell that story and then save the explanation till the end to say, you gave everything that this guy, whatever his name is, Hawkins, you gave him every ounce of credibility, and then you almost dismiss the reason why the rope is there in the bus station's explanation. It was absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, great point, and I'm glad you sent me that picture.
Yeah. The news they shouldn't deliver, they deliver, and what they should, they never deliver. And in fact, I hope you get to listen in the next hour. I'm calling Tom Shattuck. I broke a store at a West Hartford Center. We had a pistol whipping. Why am I finding out all the facts? Not one news department, I sent them everything that I had. I'm hand feeding it, texting, email, calling reporters. Nobody would cover it. And
Wow.
I can't wait to tell Tom about it.
Good enough.
But it's just the news. Thank God for talk radio.
Exactly. What else can you do? Thank you, Mark. Much appreciated. All right, folks, it's time for me to get up out of here. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the Radio. You have a good day, pleasant tomorrow. Hope you'll check out the podcast tonight on ReeseOnTheRadio.com. It's at 8 p.m., or you can check it out on the Odyssey app anytime you like. All right, holla, holla, pop your collar. Be good to each other. See you next time.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, man. Enjoy the day, bro.
Thank you, sir. You too. Oh, and yeah, I'm going to Awaken 180. I'm going to send that email to her now.
Yeah, check it out, man.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, bro.
11 o'clock, Hartford temperature not much warmer than it's been much of the morning today. 62 degrees. I'm more
Sorry. I wanted to get out of the system. Thank you, folks, always for checking us out. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, David. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Anthony. I will check you guys out next time, and I hope you will check out the podcast tonight, talking about all the topics and more, as we always do for this Friday, because it's the last day of the week, and I won't see you guys until Monday. So I love you. Be good to each other.